6 o'clock, Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. Call to order the meeting of the Board of Trustees of Garden City Community College. I guess the first thing it says on here is comments from the chair. I have a few that I want to make, but I want to cover most of them in our retreats if we can. But as many of you know, I've often said that my vision for Garden City Community College is to be the shining light at the top of the hill. I still believe that, but I think that begins with our board performance. It's our responsibility to create an image of the college as well as those others that are here. I think our self-evaluation forms that we have, I think they're good, but I think we need to look at them and enlarge them, not do away with them, not eliminate any of them. One of the things that I noticed as I was reading through this, and it was new to me, and it says the board's purpose will emphasize outward vision rather than internal preoccupation, encouragement of diversity in viewpoints, strategic leadership more than administrative detail, clear distinction of board and president roles, collective rather than individual decisions, future rather than past or present, proactivity rather than reactivity. The board will be responsible for board performance, monitor and regularly discuss the board's own process and performance. And I think that's one thing that we need to address in our retreat. When it gets time to get there, I've looked over the things that we've used in the past, and as I said, I like them, but there's some things that I think Marilyn is the one that brought them up the last time that added, and I think there's merit in every one of them. But in visiting with Shanda, maybe we need more open-ended comments. And I notice on all these evaluation forms that we put out, nobody writes any comments, and it's just check yes, no, or not. No, not apply. That's not apply. But I think we need more interaction from the board members on what they think and how they feel. And with that, I'll go ahead and we'll get the meeting started and turn it over to the SGA report. Unless, Ryan, do you have something that you want to discuss before we go any further?
Conversations with while we discuss the retreat. A lot of it is follow up from the primarily it was about the board forms for budget forecast. Master facilities. Much of our budget framework. So, questions before. Those conversations are pretty will be accomplished that month.
Does anyone on the board have any ideas and any suggestions, any thoughts on this? I, for one, to begin with, I don't mean to monopolize. I'm in favor of doing whatever it takes to get us closer to getting all the information. And I'm in my mind thinking, could we use another retreat to discuss such things as board performance, discuss such things as we got a president's evaluation that's coming up. Do we want to schedule an additional retreat or just wait to try to cover it all in the same one? And I welcome your comments on what you think.
So you're suggesting keep the retreat date that we have and utilize it for other discussion among the board and add an additional budget planning one later in June?
I don't know, we have to have it as keeping it the same date of April 1st. If there's
Okay.
other dates, that's fine. I'm open. I don't have a lot of commitments everywhere else, but I can usually make any date that's there. But this needs to be a decision of the board, and we need to decide. Do you want to just skip April 1 and go on into June that you're referring to, Ryan, and have that retreat and primary purpose of budgetary, or would you like to schedule another date in between sometime that we could maybe accomplish some other things that we maybe should be addressing?
Can we not do both at the same meeting? I mean, retreat, I mean, we've done like a Friday and then a Saturday morning.
Yeah, we can, whatever fits our schedules, as long as we want enough hours, whether it's all at once or 2 days.
Didn't we,
I think we can do it however fits our schedule.
didn't we schedule the president's evaluation to start in March? And given to you in, right, so it's done by April 4th, maybe, right?
So I think the purpose of this first retreat of the year was for professional board development. It was not so much about budget and strategic planning, although it can be, right? But it was more about some educational opportunities for us as a board, or thinking about visionary planning. And can we combine that with a budget planning and a presidential evaluation? I don't think so. I think it's a lot. I would rather see it in two separate retreats.
So maintain the April 1st for professional development
Mhm.
and then the budget one.
Yep.
That works better.
Dr. Ruda, wasn't there also something about, I remember Carla had a whole bunch of like 100 pages of something she had to go through to try to focus in on what might be the best way forward in what she was looking at.
typically. July timeframe, budget retreat. Primarily, big budget.
I asked Jody to give all of you a copy of the president's annual performance evaluation. I, for one, would like for you all to tell me how you want to proceed with that. I'm open to whatever. We can't really put it off. And I don't know if this is something that we should think about in job board performance in a retreat now or I'm open. Whatever your suggestion, whatever is the desire of this board is what I will go with.
Is it still possible for HR to do like they did last year, compile everything on your evaluation and send it out to us
When,
electronically?
yes, this will be, they've provided paper versions just for our reference and to discuss if there's any changes that needed made, or, you know, if we did do a retreat at some point, wanted to readdress in detail the evaluation at that time.
Last year, didn't we do it separately online?
Yes.
And then we sent them all in, and then we got together and did it as a group.
Yeah, so I think process remains. Results and then get.
And is it your desire to do it that way, to first do it yourself online and then get together? If it is, when do you want to have the online one done? What's your suspense date for that? When do we need to have that in? And done?
I think that is the best way to go about it, but I think we need to get started as soon as possible, because again, we usually go over in April with the president and give him his evaluation at our board meeting, an executive session. So we have everything before the, June meeting, when we talk about extending the contract.
Yeah, typically putting the story. Evaluation out. HR.
You think they will be able to send that out tomorrow? So then 2 weeks from tomorrow, we could have a suspense date to have it done. Thoughts on that, board?
Fine with me.
I believe that's good. And then in the April meeting, we can discuss it in executive session. Shouldn't be any changes.
What do you think, Beth? Fine, Marilyn? What's
Yeah,
the consensus?
The tool, I think, is pretty, it's detailed, but it's also generic, right? The sections that we evaluate any kind of person are pretty generic. The details are there, and if you have comments that you want to write in, you can. So as far as taking time to change the tool, I don't know that we need to do that. I like the one that we have. It's worked really well. So, and then usually we do a 2-week opportunity to fill it out, like you guys mentioned, and then electronically it's collected by HR, and then and then we had a schedule as far as when we review it as a board, when we review it with our president, when we talk about whether or not we're approving his next year's contract, and then we talk about any kind of salary changes. So there's a timeline, but all that goes between now and June. Yep.
If I'm understanding you correctly, we get it out tomorrow, 2 weeks from now is our suspense date on getting it back in online. And then from that point on, you think we should discuss it in executive session in a retreat? If we have 2 weeks, we're going to be close to April 1, and I don't know if that gives enough time. Maybe we need to change that April 1 date to April 7 or something like that. I
No,
don't
I-
want to bunch us up.
Don't you think we should be able to do an executive session at the April meeting to discuss the evaluation collected? So what I would suggest is that you sit down and kind of make that whole calendar of what and when, and we'll abide by it, what you say.
I would agree with you. So I guess we need to ask them to have it out tomorrow. And 2 weeks from tomorrow, we're supposed to be done. And then we will discuss it in executive session in the April meeting.
Well, I think you have a little more, I mean, you could go into the first week in April. So, right? Because our April meeting is the 18th,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think you still have 2 weeks.
Yeah, we still. No urgency, as far as getting the 2 week window, and still being able to have it by
Yep.
April 18th, give them some time to compile. I think we're right on track. That gets out this week, so. To be ready.
Okay, so I understand. Tell me again. Get it out tomorrow, 2 weeks to get it in, then we'll discuss it at the April meeting in executive session.
Correct.
Right.
Is that the consensus of this board?
Yes.
Okay, then it's done.
Maybe just point of clarification.
Are we still having the April 1st retreat? Do we think we need the April 1st retreat?
Is it possible to table that till the end of the meeting where everybody can on if and what topics would need to be covered and some potential dates for June? And that way we don't hold other things up, give everybody a little bit of time to put some thought into that and come back to it.
Yeah, I think especially if you want to bring in a speaker or something, you probably need a little more time. So I agree with you to make the date flexible. But I still like the idea of keeping it at 2 retreats instead of 1.
So we still want to have the April 1st retreat.
Date flexible, but
Okay.
for everything other than budgets, and not to bunch them all up at once.
Understood. When we're going to set that date.
Um,
Say again?
I would say that you and President Ruda can figure that date out or give us a couple dates and Jody can send an email out and we can concur or not concur.
Leaving it quite so open-ended. Is there any blackout dates? Does anybody know that?
My birthday.
That's endowment auction. We're not doing it in endowment
I
auction.
know
today.
it. Well, that's why, okay. Well, that endowment auction is a blackout day.
Yes.
Okay. All right, is it all understood? Is there any questions? Everybody clear on what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
If not, Jody knows. Any more comments, Ryan, that you would like to bring up at this time? Okay, so then we can go into the SBA report.
Hey. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. Oh my goodness. So we have a couple of updates for SGA. We have a talent show this Friday. Oh, yes. Hi, I'm Safrino Ramirez Jr. I'm the president for SGA. Safrino Ramirez Jr. Yes. That was good. Good. That was really good. Nice to meet you too. The talent show is this Friday at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. There's a $500 scholarship for first place. It's going to be here in the Joyce Auditorium. I will be performing, so you guys should go watch it. And we have a spring service project on the 15th of April from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's going to be a river cleanup. So that's another thing that we have to look forward to. Other than that, I don't think we have anything else going on. We had a couple of events go on today in the quad with some other clubs. They went really well. A lot of faculty showed up. And it was great. Other than that, that's it.
What was the first date again that you mentioned?
On this Friday, it's the talent show.
Tell me more about your service day.
It's gonna be, we're gonna do a river cleanup, which is a thing that a lot of clubs do. I've done for churches before as well, and they'll have hydration and they'll have food there for the students that decide to go and help out with that. I've heard from the past a lot go, and especially because a lot of classes, especially in like psychology and sociology, they have us have community service hours, and we always wait to the last minute. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot of those students. Yes. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Do you have any introduction of new employees?
Hello. I have with me up here, oh, Doris first. I'm so sorry. It's me, it's not you. Okay. Dora Lynch here is our new library associate. She attended Garden City Community College, received her associate's degree in accounting. While attending classes here, she worked part-time as the assistant librarian and student tutor, specializing in math, English, and econ. Dora went on to receive her bachelor's degree in accounting from Colorado Technical University. She has over 10 years of experience working in libraries and assisting students of all ages, and she started here with us on January 9th.
Sorry about that. And this is Miss Jocelyn, and I'll let her pronounce her last name so I don't butcher it.
Jocelyn Orozco.
Yes, I am a coward. So Jocelyn is new in our IT department, and she is currently a computer support specialist. She's a native of Garden City, and she graduated from Garden City High School. She received her associate's degree in general studies from Garden City Community College and is currently working on her bachelor's degree from Fort Hays. She has just recently completed the Computer Support Specialist Certificate here at the college, and her official start date was January 3rd of 2023. Welcome.
Okay. Well, then we will move into the consent agenda before I ask if there's anything that somebody wants to set out. I'm going to ask first, has everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes of the last meeting? And if there are any corrections, deletions that you might want to make to the minutes?
I have a correction to the minutes in the last meeting on page 12. Changing the name from Scott Aviation Endowment Room to Logan Aviation. all I have.
That's on page 15.
Yes.
Any other items? I'd like to set up a land purchase.
Chairman, did you wish to pull that land purchase out?
I think we should.
Leonard, you're always asking, or you're not always asking, you've encouraged me to highlight some additional information on the financials. So with your permission, I will add some detail verbally for page 17. It's the summary document. It's real short.
Well, and since I asked you for this kind of information.
Oh. Well, I just wanted to highlight our increased revenues this year in Fund 11 and 12. And just let you know what the sources of those are. In Fund 11, we're close to almost just a little shy of $15 million in revenue. And the majority of that is from the county. Although we didn't increase our mill levy because our valuation went up, our revenue was expected to go up. So we're on track there. But the other thing that is, there's always, we hear a lot of negative things currently about the interest rates increasing. However, on our financials, last year at this time, our interest income was just shy of $3,000. Currently, the end of February, our interest income is $104,314. The balance of the increase is in some student activities. So our revenue in Fund 11, $1.7 million over last year. 1.4 million of that is county. And then interest and students make up the balance of that. Our revenues are also have also increased in Fund 12. And most of that is due to our additional monies with our Excel and CTE enrollment. So, and I would be welcome to answer any questions.
Carla, the increase that you see in Fund 11, is that something that will balance out by the end of the budget year? Like this is just a spike in it? Or are we,
Well-
do we truly have that much more money than we?
Oh, no, we truly have that much more money.
Well,
So, but we budgeted it that way, so we budgeted, and the reason I do this summary sheet is so that you can see the year-to-date percentage of budget. So in reality, if you look at those comparisons, as far as where we are with what we budgeted and what we've received, we're just about 0.5% less than we were last year. The reason for that is well, I don't know the reason, but that's okay. That's pretty close. Pretty much on trend. And the reason why I do that is so it doesn't skew just because we received 1.7 million more dollars. Okay, was that planned? And the answer is yes. And you can measure that by the percentage of budget compared to last year. Because most of our revenues, as well as our expenses, the timing's pretty normal. Today we got $600,000 from the county, but we always get money in March from the county and, et cetera, et cetera. So overall, for those published funds, we're up a percentage, 1.4%. But yes, I would say it's expected. We're on trend. All's good.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So, moving along, back to the consent agenda, that we need to set out approval of the minutes and that we've already discussed. So we can include that in our motion to approve the consent. That's now reached, we need to send it out. Got a copy in our forms, in our file, so. Still gonna leave the land purchase out. And then yes,
Did somebody already request that? Okay. All right. I move that we approve the consent agenda with the minutes corrected as we've already discussed, excluding item D.
motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we can have a discussion about the land purchase. Yeah, what's in front of the board? Contract. Looking at down fairgrounds. Are there any questions from this board?
I think it's a very logical, necessary purchase for our.
Agreed.
Any more comments? Right now, I entertain a motion to approve. Purchase.
I so move that we purchase the land agreement.
I would second.
Seconded. I would second. Mr. Larson, seconded. All right, further discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Go on to the confirmation of monitoring reports. Anybody have any questions or anything to add to B1? Strength on page 42. Comments on page 43.
I think Dr. Ruda has done a good job of every year bringing more items, increasing the safety and health of the environment. Or the village Blue Cross Blue Shield, lighting, it seems like that's, he's done a good job. Continue.
Comments on policy job description on page 53. Where we're at, number wise.
So this just covers the student athletes. Looks like you did an excellent job in hiring her. She's cut it down quite a bit.
I think fortunate to have that.
So I appreciate that as one of the trustees that pushed for this information. Thank you very much. And to find a cause and effect for what has happened, I really appreciate that, that the staff is thinking about what they can do to decrease accidents or make things safer or evaluate or go to an educational opportunity or whatever it takes to make that better. So I appreciate it. I do have one other question I wanted to ask about the safety, and that was the report on the Title IX education. I know at the beginning of the year that administration and Collins staff provided some information and education on Title IX. Can you give us any information? Has there been any Title IX claims or reports, and how are they going?
Okay. Yes, we have had some Title IX cases come forward. Individuals in those cases did not want to fill out a formal complaint. And so with the formal complaints, with them not wanting to put those in place, what we do at that point, work with the individual and work with them on supportive measures. So we can put supportive measures in place to help them out. But if they would come forward and want to fill out a formal complaint, then you would go to the point of doing an informal resolution or a formal resolution. But they didn't reach that point because they didn't want to fill out a formal complaint because of the measures we put in place. They were good with that.
And does that satisfy any responsibility or liability that we have as a college to make sure that that is?
Yes, that's following our Title IX policies and protocols. Yes.
Okay, I appreciate that.
So they get the support they need without it having to be elevated.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Thank you.
Moving on down to 8.3. Board description number 6. Who wants to go first?
You go ahead.
Thank you. Well, in the fall report, reported the BAA had met the requirements of the number of board members with 18. Since that time, they've had several resignations due to people moving or other job requirements. And the number is back down to 12, which still meets the minimum numbers at the bottom. However, the past few months been a challenge with getting a sufficient number to the meeting, so a quorum is present. And they are continuing to look for additional members. In the last meeting, they did discuss a latest audit and determined the items listed had or are being resolved. Financial status of the organization is looking better. The assets show the totals are in the 6-figure range. They are also looking for sponsors to help with expenses of projects such as Hall of Fame ceremony on April 21st at 6 p.m. at Southwind. They are coordinating this with Scott, so potential donors for other projects are not duplicated or overwhelmed. Still working with the company Story for fundraising with major corporations. Story advised that we finally have enough information or starting to contact some of the major corporations to get to the right individuals. Hall of Fame inductees are Oklahoma head football coach Brent Venables, 2003 women's basketball team, which they say every one of them is showing up. Former KU basketball star Darren Hancock, and U.S. Olympic sprinter Darvis Doc Patton. Get everything, Bob?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
As far as the endowment auction goes, this is really a terrible time of year for me to report because it's auction, auction, and auction. Is pretty much the focus of the endowment this time of year. The cash spendings are always, or the investments are always a big part of the endowment, and considering the market fluctuations over the last couple of months, we are weathering this better than other market ups and downs in the past, with all the investment changes that have been made and reallocating whether it's our, we are considering what the market's doing quite well, relatively. The timeshare in Augusta Springs had kind of been a thorn in the side for a long time, but that is officially done and will no longer be an expense and burden to the Endowment Association. We do have materials kept in memorial scholarship wall on here. We do have all of the names, letters, just waiting to get it on the schedule to get it all installed and be able to do a ribbon cutting to honor those that are listed on that scholarship. As far as auction goes, good news is our cash donations for the year are beating last year already. So we still got a couple weeks to go and hopefully some more donors coming in. So that is very positive news. And we're always looking for more helpers on auction night. So feel free to get a hold of Amy or Barb or myself, and we'll get you on the list for April 14th.
To me, it sounds like things are pretty positive for both organizations. You guys would agree?
Yeah.
No worries.
I
No.
was
Okay.
I was just gonna ask David how they're doing on the fundraising. Are they ahead of schedule of what they were a year ago, or are they behind? Have they still got some unpaid accounts out there that they haven't collected?
They do have
Is it
some, but
significant or not?
it's not significant. Most of them are ones that are payroll deducted that come from the college employees. Other ones are being collected in kind measures, I think, and as far as anything else. And I know as far as the fundraising for the Hall of Fame, I think they have somewhere around $17,000 to help with expenses of travel and everything. So they're doing good, so it doesn't come out of their own budget. But yeah, I made sure, or I brought it up to make sure we, coordinate with Scott so we don't, with all the other projects we got going on, that we're not hitting everybody up 4 times,
That always is a problem.
Scott's doing a real good job of coordinating, meeting with Mike, and determining what needs to be done, so.
You're done with the report.
Unless
Okay.
anybody's got any questions. I mean, I've got tons of business. I can talk all night about these guys, but I don't think you really want that.
No.
Let's move on down to B1, page 56. Personal enrichment. Is there any question, any problem on that, if anybody? Marilyn, you're probably the one that knows more about our policy governance than anyone else. But that look good to you right now?
Yeah, I think the personal enrichment ends, defines what we're looking for, and it's in terms that are acceptable. I wouldn't recommend any changes.
Next page 57. Essential skills. I'm going to refer to you one more time. if you would, please.
Yeah, I have no recommendations for any kind of changes. I know last month I talked about how to define student success. Part of that comes in here, but I feel like that's kind of a bigger discussion to have at a retreat rather than just a few minutes here in a meeting. But I do have some information to bring to that. Plus, with Mark's comments that he made last month, it ties in the plan into our governance, so that helps also. We're on the right track. I jotted it down on. Do you have thoughts about that? So let me just throw out a comment for your guys's discussion. I like the links that Jody inserted into the policy governance, but it doesn't, I had to go back and pull this paper to remember what 1A and 2B and 3B are. So my thought was that we should include the name of the criterion with each link, or include this document in an appendix at the back so that we have something to refer to. This was a document that Dr. Malone gave us during the HLC educational meetings. Did you give it out last week? Maybe. Mine was sitting at my
Maybe.
place and I wasn't here physically,
Yeah.
but that's just not.
Yeah.
for the- Yeah, I
I'll look
think
at
we've
mine.
seen it
Maybe
a
I left,
couple
wait a
times.
minute, maybe I found it.
This is what we asked for last meeting. Help with the HLC visit, show that we are paying attention, so. And I agree with Marilyn having something in the back of the policy governance so we can easier reference than trying to look it up. But
Pretty easy.
Anything that makes us more transparent.
What I like is that it connects these documents. It connects the HLC, it connects the policy governance, and then next is the strategic plan. And figure out how to do that, but I think we're on the right path. So I recommend that we keep the links that Jody has inserted with each of the policy governance policies, and then add this as an appendix.
Is that consensus of the board?
I move that we accept this policy governance with revision.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, guys.
I guess we need a motion to approve the confirmation monitoring report.
No, you can say that we accept them as presented.
Yeah. Put that in minutes if they were discussed and accepted as presented. Accepted. Going on. Public comments. Have any public comments? Go down to the president's report. Happy to report. From the Harvard. Two other topics. So on Friday, May 5th. Basketball team. No, it didn't work. Just draw your attention to in front of you. This is no action. For your review.
No. This is the Garden City Plaza. Empty Sears building and the whole entity.
This is not a tax abatement. It's situation. No, it's just an informational. Gotcha.
Okay, were there any questions, Dr. Wood, before we go on? On what you reported? Going on then to incidental information on page 58. Anybody have any questions with that?
How are we doing with hiring? I know here not long ago, we went through a quick wage readjustment to make sure we were competitive in marketing our employment opportunities. Are we maintaining where we need to be? I mean, as far as, are we still attracting the employees we need?
Yes.
Didn't know if that kind of leveled us out and got us to our normal employment rate around here.
Yeah, I think that facilities, the support staff especially, we have, since we made that adjustment, we have had some turnover, but it hasn't, it's mainly been people leaving the area. And we have, in the custodial department, we have hired at least 3 that I know of from the high school, or from the district, I should say. You know, on this list from the February report, the last 3, the IT administrative assistant, computer support specialist, and groundskeeper have all been hired. So some of them, especially like on the IT side, it's either hit or miss. You know, Jocelyn's new. She's been great. We still needed another position to support the Title III grant. We had that, plus Will, who was in IT, moved to California, so we had that vacancy, but we just happened to have some really good applicants. The timing was right. So, and then like Ryan said, then you have those positions that have been open almost a year, and we'll get hit and miss and interview, and we're excited, and then something doesn't work out. But
A little more specialized.
yeah,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I was amazed when I looked here at page 62, all the vehicles we have and the number of miles.
Some of those
Far
are,
shot from where we were.
I think kudos go to Craig and his
Oh,
keeping
yes.
this all up
Without a doubt.
with all that,
Oh, yeah.
all those miles driven.
How about a report from Kinney County Economic Development Corporation?
I started today with no report, but I happened to look at my email before I come down here and had an email from Bono Duval, from Jason Berktold, professor of agricultural economics at Kansas State University, member of ARISE, which stands for Adaptive and Resilient Infrastructure Driven by Social Equity Project. Anyway, they're going to have a meeting out here on Tuesday, March 28th, 11 to 1 at the conference room in the Spruce Street Tech Center located 1802. Lunch will be provided. We want to invite us to attend, partake in this event. Highly value your input, insight, partnership. Garden City is a vibrant, dynamic, and strong community that we're excited to partner with. So got a number if you want to call them. But they're looking to partner and directly engage with communities across campus to develop planning tools and guidance for how to research and use data locally to help better manage and improve critical infrastructures that may enhance the welfare of our communities. So was a new one that just popped up for next week.
You were aware of it.
Yeah. You got the same email I did today.
AACCP.
Our next meeting is, Carl, I can hear you. I cannot hear Ryan or the rest of you very well on this. I'll bring this up later. Our next meeting is April 14th in Junction City, and it's the afternoon after the Phi Theta Kappa honorary meeting. And I will not be there because I'm going to come home with Ryan to be here in time for the auction, the endowment auction. Oh, and Leonard's birthday. Yeah. That's all.
That's all?
Yep.
Okay, then we're ready for the report from back in the Senate. Been waiting all night. Thank you for your patience.
Have to force it. All right. We're glad to be back. We had our first meeting after spring break this morning, and so we are just continuing to review instructional policies and to make sure that everything is up to date. So, yeah. Oh, if you're around on campus tomorrow, from about 11 to 1:30 over in the Hall of Fame in DPAC, we're doing a kind of come and go lunch with the coaches and faculty, just kind of continue building those relationships across campus. So if you're around on campus, you might stop by and say hi. But I think that's everything unless you have questions.
I happened to read the obituary column in the March 4th telegram, and one of our former, it says on here, Edmund F. Frank Guy was on our first football team. And I just wanted to share one thing with you that he said. He said at the age of 17, which was 1945, Frank joined the Navy and served in Okinawa, Japan during World War II. With the end of the war, he was discharged in 1946 and transitioned back to civil life by enrolling at Garden City Junior College. Frank spent 2 years as a member of the college's first football team and said, and this is what I want to really share with you, that the helmets of that era could be folded and placed in one's back pocket. How's that for safety? No, I thought that was very interesting. In some way, I think I saw it on my phone first through and I thought, wow, doesn't that make you feel safe if you were a football player with your helmet in your back pocket?
We've come a long way.
Anyway, I just wanted to share that. The other thing that I wanted to mention, these things, if you get them right, and if you talk loud enough, the person that we could hear really well over there was Carla. Those coffees or legislative coffees or anything else we have, they have to either practically swallow the mic or you can't hear them. Like last Saturday, Jim Minix from Scott City, somebody said, Jim, speak up. So he picked it up and he put it in almost in his mouth, and you could hear him. And then he backed it up. You couldn't hear him. I'm thinking we need, for public events and everything else, we need to do something about our sound system. And I'm no expert, but it doesn't work.
You know, I think one thing that might help that, if we do away with these.
Yeah.
And give them some lessons, give them handheld mics.
Yeah.
They speak into rather than hold down at their belt, trying to talk, and then I would think that might help. I was here and I know that the people in the back said they couldn't hear and said, speak up. And they did speak up for a little bit, but then it started dropping away. But I think we need to give
Yeah.
those legislators a little lesson on how to speak into a microphone. But I'm not sure that we wouldn't be better off using handheld mics than these mics that we have in front of us.
Well, like Jim, everybody said, Jim, we can't hear you. And he was talking louder than most. So he put it up and he almost swallowed it and you could hear him. And then he took it back this far. You couldn't hear him. So I don't know. My feeling is we want them to keep coming out here for things, but we got to do something with our sound system.
Dr. Clifford spoke up, hear him, and so did Senator Dahl, but the rest of them, at times, we have difficulty.
So I don't know. It's just something I think we need to look into. And it wasn't just that one. And there are other things that we've had here. You just can't hear people. And see, I can't now. Realize, yeah, Ryan, we can't hear you. Nope.
I wonder if,
Oh, thank you for this old woman.
See?
We'll look into it. How about that?
And I do have an appointment with a hearing specialist on May 18th in Lincoln.
into it. There you go.
See, at that point, Dr. Ruda held it the right place, below your mouth. Your voice comes out and drops.
I mean, the mic you have is not functioning.
So.
But it-
we
But you do
would
have to
do that
talk
in
above it.
Police training. You talk back here, so it comes out and drops.
Be part of the welcome package when we have speakers in, these microphones work best and this position.
And I believe they have something in works, but it's just back ordered. I also have some.
Is there any more ownership linkage?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I attended the Criminal Justice Advisory Board meeting on March 9th. 21 participants attending. Discussions were on the Promise Scholarship Act, also the apprenticeship. Update from partners, which you got included the Sheriff's Department, Police Department, School District, Oakham. And then they did the course reviews on CRIM 121 and CRIM 114, which is required by Perkins for their funding. And their DPS award ceremony will be on May 4th this year. They always have it the day before, so if any graduating parents or parents coming in from out of town, they don't have to go out and come back. They can stay overnight and attend the ceremonies on the 5th. So. And I also had asked for Jody about the campus-wide assessment of services that we received some time ago. This is what the staff and faculty fills out, and part of it was on the president. Knowing that the evaluation is coming up, this is a good tool for us to look at while we're filling out that evaluation. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any more?
I guess I went to the Auto Advisory Committee via Zoom. they're doing some changes in classroom and workshop, to better coordinate that. They're having a hard time keeping the classroom and the workshop at the same level. They're gonna change that up a little bit. We have more applicants than we have spots coming out of the high school, so that's a good problem to have. It is in high demand, and the bulk of the conversation was really centered around Mark Malone's discussion on the apprenticeships, and there seemed to be some real interest in seeing how that progresses and how that can help.
After our legislative coffee Saturday, I visited with Jean Clifford, and I visited with Ryan about this. She was interested in knowing more about when our CDL class was going to start, if we had an instructor, how long it was, were we going to have it in the summer? She was pretty excited about it, thought that that was a great training place for a lot of young people. But she's also pretty excited about just the tech programs that we have. She feels that's really a good thing for us to do. So, and I had told her that I would ask Dr. Ruda to get in touch with her about who, what, when, and where, because I didn't know all those answers. So that was the only one I had. Anything else? Let's go to the upcoming calendar. A lot of it's already passed. Baseball's playing tomorrow. The 26th PTA Spring Induction Ceremony, where Mr. Bob Larson will be the speaker. On the 30th of March, Garden City Chamber of Commerce annual banquet. Do we have tickets to that? What does that tell me? So if I wanted to go, would we have a ticket? And I'll see Jody. I know better. I know where to go. I'm sorry.
For that, don't you?
The Wing Ding Event Transportation Building at 12 to 1:30. You know, it'd be fun for you to go to that. I'm sure Greg would like to show off his buses, his buildings, and all of what they get done over there. And I think that's kind of become the envy of the other community colleges in the state. People are amazed at what we've got. 31st of March, men's track, and that's here, right?
Yes.
And is he looking at women's track invite? Are they looking for help?
Yes.
You know? Okay. That evening, the rodeo kicks off. Then on the 1st of April, the spring board meeting, or spatial board meeting, we've changed that, haven't we? Oh, that Kent Scott conference room.
That's the retreat.
Okay. Tracks and invite is continuing. The 6th, baseball with Butler. I'm not real sure how we're doing, but I know that we've got a lot of positive responses from people that come in and watch about maybe we're not winning a lot, but they're all very high on our coach. They think that we've got the right guy, and we kind of just said to them, you got to be patient. He was hired late. He'll have some right and better players recruited. So that's a positive. Easter break, 7th of April. Again, April 15th, the legislative coffee. 18th was our board meeting. 19th is chamber breakfast. The 5th of May, commencement. 17th of May, another chamber breakfast and facilities last day. Faculty's last day. Then May 20, legislative coffee again, and Memorial Day, the campus is closed. Below that, we've got a list of our advisory boards. And one thing I missed, Colin, did you want to tell them who it was that they were talking about in the basketball game that played at Garden City last year? I know that
Yes.
they said on the TV, it's something about
Mhm.
played at Garden City. And
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, one of the major upsets in the tournament, a 16 seed beating a number 1 seed in Fairleigh Dickinson. We had a player that played with us last year under Bill Morosco, and his name was Harub Elijah. And played a lot of minutes, doesn't start, but the way that coach and his system, they get 5 in and 5 out. So he usually plays at least 20 minutes a game, and he played very well in the games that they played, and part of made history with that team. So pretty exciting to see them do well like that.
Are they still in the tournament or?
Nope, they got beat out.
Okay. Yeah. Your advisory board is a list. These are all current, right, Jody? Okay. So if your name's on there, you got a date to be somewhere. Do we have an executive session tonight? No executive session.
I have a question for Dr. Ruder.
Okay.
Dr. Ruder, are we going to have a special meeting reference banking? Okay.
Well, if there's nothing else, I would declare this meeting adjourned. Still on our paper? Well, I thought, I didn't ask to fill out the evaluations because I thought we would start discussing those and if we were needing to make some changes or add to or delete, make it a little more complete. But if you want to fill it out, go right ahead.